So Laura Land is the founder and COO of Marketplace Valet. Her company specializes in helping brands bring their product to online marketplace.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for being here today. It's a really exciting event. The last one we were at was the one in New York, and it's great to see everybody out here on the West Coast. My company, Marketplace Valet, we basically specialize in services for multi-channel marketplace sellers. And kind of our project with KiwiTech right now is that we're building a platform that helps those sellers bring together their data, services, and all of the reporting into kind of like an all-in-one portal where they can manage all of their business intelligence.
Hi everyone, my name is Carol. I'm the VP at Fusion Fund. So Fusion Fund, we're an early stage VC fund. We're based in Palo Alto, and we're first on investing Series C and Series A tech companies. So basically deep tech and health tech. So for investment categories, first one is AI, like computer vision, NLP. The second category is industrial automation. For example, like robotics, self-driving car, IoT, etc. Third one, technology, network technologies like 5G edge computing, and the last one is health tech. Our first fund was set up in early of 2015, and the second fund closed early last year. So now we're managing together over $105 million. Our typical check size like 500K to 1.5 million, and for Series C, we typically prefer to lead, and for Series A, it depends on the round size. Sometimes we do a little bit like late stage, like B or pre-IPO, but most of things like first on early stage, and we also reserve most of the capital for Private.
Hello, I'm Annalise Gamble. I'm at WTI, which is a venture debt fund. We invest venture debt all the way from seed stage companies to pre-IPO, so $1 million range up to $50 million at the high end. We are sort of a little bit of a unique player in the market in that our debt has no covenants. So I think a lot of our portfolio companies think of our capital as behaving more like equity dollars, even though it is a debt product. We've been around since 1980. We just closed our, I think, 16th institutional fund in December of 2017, which is just over $1 billion. So we have a lot of sort of capital to put to work.
My name is Arena. I am a strategic advisor for How Women Invest, which is the investing platform we are bringing together later this year as an extension of How Women Lead, which is the chapter here in the Bay Area that manages the Women on Board's 2020 initiative. So we are working with women of color at the seed and startup stage, bringing together our network of 8,000 women across many different sectors, including the political sector, to fund these women to bring their businesses to fruition. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Iris Bombalin. I'm the Silicon Valley, San Francisco chapter lead for Golden Seeds. We're a national organization of angel investors. We've been around for 14 years, and we're happy to welcome everybody else to the pool nowadays. We focus on investing in women-led companies, and the reason why is because most of us scratched and clawed our way up the career ladder without a lot of help, and we look forward to giving it back. I myself retired from a career in aerospace as a vice president of programs with Lockheed Martin. We have, as of last year, invested $110 million in women-led companies. And we look forward to hearing your pitches and hopefully seeing your applications.
Thank you all very much. So we have 3 questions for the panel today, and I think we have about 5 minutes each for each question. So kind of if everyone can take a turn and kind of make sure we leave enough time for everybody, that'd be great. So the first question we have is, what tips or wisdom would you like to share to women who are leaping into the entrepreneurship journey?
So based on my personal experience, I have been, dealing with founders a lot. Although like entrepreneurial journey doesn't necessarily be like founder only. It could be like in enterprise companies, etc. But based on my personal experience, we have seen a lot of founders, female founder, sometimes solo founder or couple founder or founder with other couple with other partner. we do have seen, like the female founders, they have been sometimes like struggle or faced with some like pressures that the other like male founders they haven't seen. For example, like not just our fund, but like generally, I'm just speaking out of the VC industry, right? So people will think like, how you like balance your family, like how you manage your time with your kids or partner family, right? And also like what's your plan for your like maternity leave? And sometimes, right? And people will also question like, they will think like females, they could be sometimes like emotional, not very stable, so they were a little bit worried about that. So my tips, for those female founders who are looking for example, like fundraising or doing BD or development is like you can do your homework and try to look for example, like those VC funds who have a female partner or female senior investment, people who can really understand better about like the female founders situation, and especially like those partner or like investment team people who have been like at the founder side before, because they can really relate. And that's one thing, like before you, for example, like reach out to investors. But during your meeting with investors, I would suggest like female founders, you guys to be like good listener to understand like whether your story can be really understood by the investors, no matter it's like female or male. And if it's not like you feel, because female typically you guys are more better at like communication, right, and empathy. So try to be more professional and the business opportunities only, and try to adjust your storytelling, when you're doing the pitch. And also after that, be more aggressive. Like ask for feedback, ask for intro, ask for help. So actually, VC investors, we want to be friendly, founder friendly. So if you ask for help, we will help like whatever we can. For example, like maybe refer or just give like good advice. And also try to you can ask for like mentorship, right? Find someone senior in the industry or someone like female in the VC industry to help you out. So be more aggressive and ask for feedback, follow up. Just I don't think there's like much difference in male or female in running the company. It's just for females, you maybe sometimes you will question yourself, but actually my tips like being more confident and be more progressive.
If I could follow up on Carol's advice there, because we see predominantly women-led companies, and having been a woman in a predominantly male culture for my entire career, I like to provide the bias is real. Okay, there are articles out there. There's a Forbes article out there that is very specific, that even if you come in as a woman and you present just as competently as a man, the questions that you will receive will be different because the bias is real. Here's the thing. These VCs tend to ask women, they're looking more for risk mitigation versus upside opportunity. And the thing is that when you get that question that says, how are you going to mitigate my risk? You turn it around and you turn it into the opportunity discussion. They have done the studies. Male entrepreneurs are asked, what is my opportunity? Women are asked, how do I mitigate my risk? And even female investors will do this because it's unconscious bias. So you need to be aware of that. You need to flip it. You need to be ready to show that opportunity, because quite honestly, we're angel investors, right? If we're not, it's about as guaranteed as going to Vegas and throwing your money on the crap table. So if we're not willing to do that and look at, and we need you to sell us your bright, shiny opportunity, if we get settled in onto that risk side, we'll end up digging you right down into the dirt. So you need to flip that story, and you need to be aware that there's that bias.
I think don't let imposter syndrome get in your way. I think everybody has imposter syndrome. I was listening to Fresh Air yesterday, and Terry Gross was interviewing John Mulaney, and he was talking about feeling like a fraud. So don't, know that and don't. I think find a mentor, find a group of people that you can lean on outside of your day-to-day work that you can turn to for advice. And don't be afraid of rejection. I mean, you're gonna get it if you haven't already. And I think those people who are most successful use rejection as a motivating force. I think that.
The last thing I'm going to say, because I know we have to keep down, is just don't be conservative with asking how much you want. Women get cut smaller checks. We're more conservative in our estimates. And again, just to emphasize, reaching out, practice your pitch, and make sure you're asking for the right amount of money, because you are going to get a haircut to that. So please stop being conservative with how much you're asking for.
All amazing feedback, and actually it leads into the next question, which is very interesting. Where'd it go? The next question was, should women entrepreneurs have a different strategy in terms of capital raise than their male counterparts? And I think we dove into that a little bit, so maybe since you didn't get a lot of time to speak on that one, you want to go ahead and speak some more as far as, how should women approach their capital raise different than males?
Yeah, so I think it kind of goes back to echoing just how it comes back to like doing your homework on the industry, you're looking at the market, you're sizing up. So sizing up the market and picking the right comparables or benchmarks that you're looking at when you're looking at the competitive landscape, and just doing things like that is where I would look to start making your own comparisons in terms of what you're projecting and what you're valuing yourself at. And then also reaching into your networks. I mean, I just think that what my experience has been at the seed and startup stage is that there isn't enough. I mean, it's fine. Like, as women, we should not be afraid to say, like, look, my expertise is not finance. I'm going to go reach out to somebody that does have that experience and run my numbers by them. Help me build a model, a scenario analysis around this, and then run different valuations around it. I just think that's something else. So yes, tapping into expertise. If your experience is business development and sales, that's great. I just say, like, there's so many women I encounter, they're like, I don't know how to build a model, or I don't know how to talk about EBD, EBITDA, or any of this. And it's like, well, great, so many other people do. So let's bring them into the equation.
Yeah, I really love the don't be afraid to ask. I think a lot of times, just in general, we're really afraid to just ask for what we need, or to say, I'm not good at this, and say, I need help with this part of my business. I think those are, all great pieces of advice. Just we have time for Q&A. I'm going to move on to the next question, which is, as an investor, do you observe any challenges that are distinctly more common in female CEO startups?
I'd like to say no, and I think when I got these questions and was like thinking about the answers, I was like, no, I don't think so. But then, after more thought, I was like, and I saw that same study, like Harvard did the study in like 2017 or something, so it's a pretty recent study. And I really do think that women are asked sort of defensibility questions, and so I think, be aware of that going to your meetings and be ready to sort of brag about yourself, brag about your business, turn sort of caution questions into like how big this market could be and how big your business could be. And I also think that women get framed as being aggressive when they're trying to be assertive about something. And I think, unfortunately, that's true. And I think the way to sort of, I don't know if combat that would be the right word, but it's just to be genuine. Like, don't be afraid to be a woman in the boardroom, or like, don't try and be more masculine just because you're dealing with all men. I think in some ways, like, you have an advantage. You're a woman. Just the sheer fact that you're a woman, you're going to be more memorable. And so don't lose that as you sort of try to negotiate or whatever it is.
So I would say that was my answer to that question, by the way. But if you looked at the statistics that Sherry showed, and I'm going to repeat some of them because it's really important, right? At the angel level, the amount of investment in women-led companies, or companies that include women, because we really don't have the numbers for women-led specifically, but the ACA has put out statistics for diverse teams. Those companies are getting now maybe 20% of the invested dollars that are available. That's really not a great increase, but worse is that I think I saw the number, it was about $8 billion were available at the VC level last year in 2018. Of that, women-led or diverse companies got 2 to 3%, and that's by number, by company. If you talk about the amount of money they got, to Raymond's point, they're getting less because they asked for less. So the good thing is women-led companies probably do more with less. There's evidence of that, but they're still getting less money, and they're not making the leap to the larger funding at the VC level. So you need to be aware of that. What's good about it is that we have a lot of large VC funds now who are becoming aware of the now documented statistics that show, you know, companies with boards that are diverse are showing a 23% better performance at the bottom line than companies that are not diverse. So now we have more VC firms, more larger funds that are actually forming these women-focused VC funds. Hey, don't be afraid to go after those things. I don't care how I got the advantage. I'm going to go get the money, right? Because you're as good or better. So go for the money. Go take advantage of this right now, the rising tide of money that's coming into women-led companies. And don't be, again, afraid to reach out for help. At Golden Seeds in particular, we love to mentor women-led companies. And we have a lot of experience in a lot of different areas.
I found that we have kind of an interesting situation where I have had kind of a legacy business that we've been in business for 15 years. We're a revenue producing business, we're cash flow positive, but we've moved from being a service business into basically developing software and a software platform. And I feel like that's been a hard leap for us in a sense where we're not selling something brand new. We're selling a company that's existed for a long time, but now we're trying to basically raise money for the new component of the business. Do you guys have any advice on that type of fundraising?
You want to know what's your current state based on the state, right?
Mm-hmm.
And based on your growth projection. So first of all, you have to check that whether it's a VC business or it's maybe PE or venture debt, to power you to grow because you're already cash positive.
Yeah.
You can actually grow the business based on your own cash income, right?
Yeah.
So if it's VC business, which means it can be growing super fast, right? Because all VC looking for is financial return,
Yeah.
and they want to have super high IRR during the next time. So if you can demonstrate that, you can prove the business can grow even faster.
Even faster.
It's fine. It's definitely fine. You can go to them and prove that it's something new and it's something worth to invest, right? But if not, if this stable growth but more sustainable, maybe other source of capital could be a good option as well.
I guess just going off what Carol said is, we've seen this all the time when companies add that, for lack of a better word, digital transformation or this component, it's, there's evidence of what that incremental lift to sales are. So again, it's just kind of providing the evidence and backing it up with the valuation that comes after that from where you currently are. So, yeah.
Hi, I'm Preeti Srikhandi from the City. And I wanted to find out, we're a women-led company, and wanted to find out as you get into this, approach, is it a lot of network-based, or do you just take people applying directly to your company, right? If you were to apply, whatever, how do we get funds from angel investors when we're looking for that for growth? Because we've heard it's a lot of, you have to have all these connections and all these network, and how do you, and now you're saying, applications, whatever. So I just want to understand that process and how much of it is really networking and how much do you just take something coming right out from your inbox, right?
So networking is, I think, always important to do. I think where we're standing up here is just calling out that one of the pushback questions that I've received at least is, people said, is there a pipeline of viable female-led companies? So are you kidding me? I mean, why do you think we have something like KiwiTech or anything, or Golden Seeds, anything that's coming up? We can point to a number of examples, and it gets narrower and narrower, right? We can break down women-led businesses, women by color, of the Latina, or Asian, anything. It's just, so that's why we're here, and I think it's great that there's now networks that are trying to tell you, come to us, we have a network to back you up, whether it's to give you operational guidance or someone to serve on your board. But I think now, both, right? Don't give up your network, and you never know who you're going to run into that's going to be very intrigued by your story, but also, there are formal places now to apply,
So I'll just talk specifically about Golden Seeds. You can go to the website and you can see what the criteria is for a company that we would typically evaluate, and then if you feel like you meet that criteria and you apply, our deal flow team will look at it, determine whether or not you meet the criteria. If things are unclear, they'll follow up with you and talk to you. and then determine whether or not we can bring you in for screening. We also all have a network. We all go out and do things like this, and when we talk to people, then we will also bring people in through that route. We also offer free office hours in both of our locations in Silicon Valley and San Francisco. That's for companies to do whatever they want. It's a give back to the community. Oftentimes we see very, very early stage companies that we would not bring in because they're not ready for our investment criteria, but they need advice, like how do I find a lawyer, or what should I do when this incubator offers me these terms. We're happy to provide that advice to them for free. You get 30 minutes to talk about whatever you want.
Relocating from Los Angeles, I am wanting to know if you guys do any female founder dating. I'm looking for a female co-founder and a whole team, like a CTO, and a great creative art director. It's just a fabulous team and a board. And I want to do founder speed dating, female founder speed dating. Can we do that?
There are several female founders groups that you should hook up with, like Female Founders Alliance, for example. They're based in Seattle, and there's a couple more. We can probably talk afterwards.
So we're always asked, where's our technology? And that has been a barrier in us raising funds. But we have traction, and because we have traction, we've been putting all that money into operations, and so now we're kind of backtracking and trying to raise funds. So what advice do you have for companies that have launched to prove the model and are now backtracking to raise those funds to build the technology?
So I think that's a specific question, and I think it's hard to provide general advice to, I think every scenario is pretty unique. I'm so happy to talk to you sort of offline about your unique situation. It's just, I think, too hard to provide kind of general advice about that.
All right, I think we are out of time, so we're going to let the rest of our presenters present. Thank you all so much. Your questions were amazing. And thank you, Family.